Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 13 of County Unscripted, and today you get Mike and I, and that's it. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on in our real estate market, things to watch out for, and just an overall kind of 30,000-foot view of Lee County's real estate. We don't really talk about the real estate market in Lee County a lot. We like to bring events that are going on in Lee County, but today we're going to stick to real estate because that's what we do here.
It is what we do. And it seems like it's been forever since just you and I have had these talks of what's going on in the market.
Yeah, it's been a couple months since we've done this. We've had a lot of great guests, and I think I don't know about you, but I didn't realize we had so many organizations and non-for-profits in Lee County.
And we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, there's
right.
A lot
There's so many things out there, so many amazing people that like to help within the county and the surrounding areas. My hat's off to them for taking that mission on. But yeah, it's very heartfelt and warm.
Yeah, because a lot of those positions, you start off as a voluntary role and then work into a staff position. But that kind of brings us to the Board of Realtors. Mm-hmm. You start off just a volunteer there. All the people that make up these committees and boards are all volunteering their time out of stuff, just like they are for every other organization, and not being paid for it, but making a difference.
And you hear some realtors and some brokers in the community think that our board doesn't do anything, or that it's a quote unquote a kangaroo court per se. And it's not until you're involved that you actually see the things that happen on a day-to-day level and behind the scenes. There's so much that happens, and the staff, they do such an amazing job. I would actually challenge those brokers that are saying that to come have a discussion, and we'll educate you.
I'm 1,000% guilty of that. All the years that I was doing business, I was like, why am I paying these dues? It's ridiculous. We don't get anything out of it. And then you start learning a little bit about the board. And I'm not saying they do everything right, because there's always room for improvement.
Sure.
In any kind of board, there's room for improvement. But the what we offer as a board of 10,000 or so members around there, what we have offered to us is far more than any other board that I know of. I don't think people realize, but all the little icons that they have on their dashboard, that is all something that somebody had to go negotiate and get the best price and work that into our budget to then see if it's going to flop or if it's going to work. And if it flops, we get rid of it. But all those little, apps, you call them, on the dashboard are from somebody's basically due diligence of finding out what's going to work for us and what's not. And we get all those not for free because we pay our yearly dues, but we get all those included in our dues.
And I'd like to, a year from now, redo this conversation so you can see, because having an idea of what's coming down the pipeline, we're going to be set up very well for the future as membership base here in Southwest Florida, specifically the RPCRA.
Do you think that our membership base is going to continue to grow, or do you think that you're going to see some pullback from agents, since we have seen a little in the last year?
Yeah, it's only down 5% from the same time last year, which is not a lot. And I think even on a national level, it's not down a tremendous amount. We're on year 3 of our downturn, of our correction.
As in the real estate market.
As a real estate market, yeah. We're in year 3 of our correction, which is very cyclical, very normal. This is nothing to be alarmed or frightened about. But this is the first correction that people have had to deal with in their real estate careers, right? Like you and I got involved in real estate coming at the back end of the last
We could only go up from where we came from.
That's true.
We came in at the absolute bottom of the market.
Right.
When you could buy a home for $50,000.
Yeah, which is insane. And now you look at what the prices are today.
$300,000 more. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the bottom. We were at ground zero for sure on that bubble, on that real estate bubble. But this is the first correction, and people don't know how to respond to that. And I think you're seeing some people are feeling the struggles, and it's not just put a listing on the MLS and wait for your phone to ring and have a line around the corner of showings. That's not today's market.
No. We get excited when we get our showing notifications. We're like, yes, we got one for this one, because we do everything we can to market towards the people that are moving here. We research the demographics from where people are moving from, through multiple sources, not just one source. And then we target market to those areas to continue to draw through their search algorithm to draw them into the area. For a seller, they're frustrated because they're looking at it like, well, I've only had 3 showings. And we're like, But you had 3 showings in a week. That's good.
That's solid.
That's good in this market. Where 2020 to 2022, if you didn't have 3 showings the first day.
In an hour.
Yeah, you were looking at like, oof, we really overpriced this guy.
Right.
And that's just not how it is today.
One of the hardest obstacles to overcome can be sellers, right? Everyone thinks that the seller sets the market and sets the price, and it's not. And you and I have had this discussion before where it's the buyers. The buyers are the ones that are saying, I'm willing to pay X for Y house. And then the banks have to approve if it's a lender involved. What would you say to a new agent or a new realtor, whether it's here locally or across the country, that may happen to come across this? How would you overcome the seller that wants to list their house 10 to 15% higher, negotiate down and talk them down?
10 to 15%. I mean, that would be we can't, we're not even in the ballpark.
Exactly.
But
that's the right answer.
Yeah. Even 3 to 5% is too much. And now those are minimal numbers. You have to be at or slightly below. We always recommend slightly below market value, because by the time we go out and look at your house, we get back to our office, get you a solid number, do photos, have everything ready, do our marketing, then put it on the market. You're probably 3 to 4 weeks by the time all that gets done. Yeah, we can rush it and get it done in a week and a half, 2 weeks, but you're a month. So now we're a month past that date that we told you that price. We need to redo our comps the day we go to a listing and say, hey, this dropped X amount of money. This property closed or that property closed, and we've come up with a new number. This is where we're at. If we go above that, we're going to have a really hard time getting showings. And we've had this, and we don't get showings. And then what happens? Sellers
get mad and they want to know what's going on and what are we doing? I want to see what your marketing plan is. I want to see. No. You don't get that.
We don't say it like that.
I do.
He does.
No, you don't get that.
You don't get that. But what we do say is, when we told you this number, we're now what we call chasing the market. And when we're chasing the market, that means that the other buyers, let's call you buyer A and seller A, seller B, and seller C. And you as seller A listed your price high. Well, now there's seller B and seller C that are lower. So you need to actually come down and be below seller C, where if we would have started off, you could have been at seller B's price and got multiple showings and most likely an offer. And we always say, your first offer is usually your best offer, unless there's some wild offers out there lately that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
But a realistic offer is usually your best offer. And let's negotiate through that. Let's work through that and come up with a common price. Because if we don't take this offer now, we're probably going to be below that down the road, unfortunately.
And for sellers, if there's an offer that comes in that's legitimate and presented to you, please do not, for the love of everything, do not say, well, we've only been on the market for a week and we only have one offer. No, that's not the correct answer. Let your professional take it and run with it and get you the most value for your home. We're not in that market. You can't afford to roll the dice, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're rolling the dice hoping that something and someone and a bank are willing to pay more than the offer you already have in hand.
Yeah. And most buyers sell a handful of homes in their entire lifetime. Real estate agents are doing a handful of houses in a month. Our real estate is like how we eat, breathe, and sleep. It's we talk it, we do it every day. It's just natural to us. And that's why you really want to hire a real estate agent to guide you through this. And there's other things, and this is kind of a good segue into other things that you need to watch out for if you are a buyer and a seller. As a buyer, there's so many fraudulent listings out there that the AI and all the things that you can do to research and make up fake IDs and fake passports. I'll give an example of one time I had a client call me and said, oh my gosh, Kim, this is the perfect lot. We want this lot. We want to build on it. Like we have to have it. And I was like, oh, that's a really good price. Okay. And this was probably in 2022, I would say. And I remember looking at the lot and going, that's weird. It's only on Zillow. Okay, I get it. A lot of people at that time were selling them themselves because they could sell them quickly. I looked at it, and the name was backwards to what it was. Like if it was Jim Smith, it was Smith Jim, and it was all in capital letters. And I said, well, that's interesting. Okay. And so I started doing some due diligence on it. Come to find out, another agent had it listed the year prior. So I called that agent and I said, hey, is your seller selling this property? And he said, no, he's not. I go, are you sure? Because it's listed on Zillow. I go, my buyers ended up contacting them and they want me to write an offer, and, you know, they have all the information for the deposit. And he's like, that's not my seller. He's not selling it. So my buyers almost lost $100,000 because that's what they were requiring for the down payment or the deposit for this lot to hold it. And they are so thankful that they reached out, because if you don't have somebody that does this day in and day out, that looks like a perfectly fine ad that somebody for sale by owner is doing it, and a title company that they're using is going to keep this money. Because you trust title companies. Attorneys and title companies are the ones who close transactions. And you usually trust them with your funds because there's a contract in place. But these people almost lost $100,000.
Every closing that happens in Lee County or any county, right? You'll get something in the mail that looks like an official document. And it says from your property appraiser or from the state of Florida or whatever that you have to register for this title insurance and all that stuff. That's just a scam.
Yeah. It's just to get money out of it.
It's just to get money.
Even if it's $100 or, you know, $75 to get a copy of your deed, don't ever pay that amount of money. You get it from your title company when you close. It's literally in your packet that they give you. There's a copy of your deed in there. You never need to pay that amount of money.
So Lee County does something interesting on LEPA, which is the Lee County Property Appraiser.
It's LEPA, LEEPA.org.
Yeah, it's the property appraisers. They actually give you the ability to register your address. So if it pops up in front of a title agent or a title company or an attorney and they're doing some research, you will get notified. Almost like Google.
Credit report.
Or Google, right? Like you can put your own name into Google. I didn't know that. And you can see anytime your name pops up and it'll notify you every single day. If people are searching you or somebody put something falsely in there, like you can see it.
Okay.
It's a Google alert. So the property appraiser does the same thing. Unfortunately, less than 10% of our population utilize this resource.
Yeah.
How much money would that save people?
Ton of money.
Thousands of dollars of not being.
And they're so creative with now everything that they're doing. I mean, I'm sure my parents said this, you know, when I was growing up. Oh, they're so creative, like how they're scamming people in it with the, you know, advance of AI, that it's just becoming more and more creative of how they're getting away with this stuff.
You can literally put your voice on anything.
Yes.
I'm going to segue you for a minute. I'm going to go back to the talking to new agents for a second.
Oh.
Going back, what you know now, if you could start over, what are 3 things you would do differently?
I would keep a very diligent database. I did not have a good CRM. I probably have lost thousands and thousands of dollars not having a good CRM when I first started. Getting involved either with your broker or the board to learn about various things that are coming up within your contracts. I was lucky enough, like the person that I shadowed, he knew the contract inside and out. He was not my broker. He was just a guy that was willing to help me out because I didn't have a great broker in the beginning. And he let me shadow him, and he had a wealth of knowledge about the contracts. But I then knew that contract in and out. Like I could get my buyers out of things that they needed to get out of. In the state of Florida, the contract is written for the buyers. It's not written for the sellers. Once the seller's in a contract, you're in it. If you want to get out, then you better fork over a lot of money to get out of that contract. That was the other thing I definitely would do is find a mentor that can guide you, because it's not something you can sit down and, like we've said this to our new agents. There's not a book that I can give you and say, here you go.
Yeah.
Learn this. You have to be in the office every single day and learning from us. And the agents that have done that have definitely absorbed a lot, because there's things that come up on a daily basis that teach you, because no one's going to teach you how to negotiate, right? You could probably take some online negotiating classes. I don't know how great they would be, but there's nothing better than somebody who can teach you negotiations. I think that's a generational thing you pass down from one generation of an agent to another, is how it's the art of negotiation. There's a book on it, but it's quite old. But the art of negotiation is a true thing.
You're right. Like as a generational thing, right? Like the older crowd, I guess I fall in that older crowd. That's some BS. I fall in that older crowd.
Well, I dye my hair, so that helps me not look old.
I just aged myself. We pick up the phone and have conversations.
Yes.
Where the younger Edwards group, they like to text.
Which is fine, and that's good, but you lose
the...
It makes you sound like you're coming across curt.
Right.
Even though you're not, and you're just trying to get some questions answered.
Or you can't hear the pauses, and you can't, like, there's something to be said about hearing somebody's voice, right?
The tone and the fluctuation.
The tone, and like sometimes silence. A lot of times I have found that if you just stay silent, the person on the other end will keep talking and give up what their leverage point is.
Yes.
And there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
And you can't get that through a text. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like talking on the phone all the time to people.
Sometimes you
like
need to pick it
texting.
up, though.
Yeah. I like texting. It's much more, it's on my time, right? Like, I am all for that.
And sometimes people just talk too much.
Correct. It's a lost art.
It is 100% a lost art. And I think you get yours from, like, you took it from the detective world, right? As being a police officer.
Yeah.
You just shut up and let them talk. And they're going to tell you everything. Like, you're going to be in the cop world. You're going to get into their car and search it because you just let them talk. And you're like, all right, so hey, bud, like,
Yeah.
and then you're buddy. And then you get into the car. It's easy if you just let them talk. People like to talk about themselves and know that they are listened to and they're heard, and that, like, you're not going to stab them in the back. That's the biggest thing. How many times do we go and start negotiating with somebody and then we learn, like, oh, these people are great, they're cool, and we come out of the transaction, we're like, yeah, that's a really good person. And then, a handful of them will leave and be like, wow, that was a train wreck. That guy was horrible. And we're seeing there's a lot of agents coming from outside areas into our local market. And it's becoming harder and harder to deal with them because they're used to doing business the way that they do it where they're from. They're coming into our market, and it will change. Our market will change, and how we do things will change. But it becomes kind of a standoff of agents of, no, like, you need to be respectful. This is it. Where, people come in and they're very, and this is making me sound old, they want to do things fast and they want to get things moving. We're like, whoa, there's a contract, there's a process, there's all these things that we have to do and follow the due diligence. There's a shift in our agents as well as our market.
What do you think, or we haven't talked about the market, our local market, right?
No, we have not.
What do you think our local market is right now? Like, I know the number, right? So before, like, the outsider, like, you see the Wall Street Journal, you see those articles, you see some agents that are
doom and gloom
and blowing that up, and it's a big bubble. You look at the beginning of the year for Cape Coral single family homes, just single family homes. We don't take condos, we don't take townhomes unless it's a single family home. We don't put that in there. It's like putting vacant land into a single family home.
Yep.
It's just an apple to an orange. You just should not merge everything together.
Let's say why we do that, right? A single family home is on a 10,000 square foot piece of property. If you were to put condos, now you're going to have 4 to 6 condos in that 10,000 foot space. That doesn't make sense. It's not comparing apples to apples.
Now, if a townhome is deeded as a single family home, right? Like, that's different. But yeah, you're right. If you're looking for a condo and I'm looking for a single family home, I don't care what the condo market's doing. And they're also two different
price ranges.
They really are two different price ranges. So just single family homes in Cape Coral at the beginning of the year, it was just over 3,500 single family homes.
For sale. Yep.
Today, we're at 2,504. That's almost 30% decrease from January. But you listen to
national media,
or even, like I said, even some of our local realtors, some of our local professionals, that's doom and gloom. Well, we're down 30% of active listings on single family homes. How can you say we're in a bad market? We're still selling between 400 and 500 homes every single month in Cape Coral. Now let's go to Fort Myers, right? Like, that was it was almost 2,400 single family homes. Today it's just over 1,800. We're still down over 25%.
And buyers are coming into the market. They're emerging more and more. The Feds dropped the rates at quarter of a point. Didn't do much for us in mortgages because mortgage rates are by mortgage-backed security. But for us, it gave the public an idea like, oh, things are happening. Like, we're moving. Yeah. We're coming into a better economy. Let's jump on it. Interest rates actually went down prior to the Feds dropping the rate. They're at a decent rate right now. And so that's why we're seeing buyers come off the fence and start moving in. They waited for 2 years for this to come down, and it hasn't come down. So now they're like, okay, I think this is going to be our new standard of interest rates. And we've said this time and time again on the podcast, interest rates between, 5, 6, somewhere in there is a normal interest rate. You'll never see 2, 3, maybe you'll see 4, but you'll never see those again. And now people are saying, okay, well, the houses are coming back into price range and the interest rates are coming back down. Now's the time to get in.
Unless it's a builder. Like we have some builders, like they offer some things
Yep.
that, like you had talked about previously with Bree. Those are 2.9 as low as 1.9 for the first year, 2.9 in escalating, but 3.9. Like, yeah, you can get those, but that's from a builder.
A builder.
That's not from the open market.
And again, the builders have quantity of homes. They have the lender, they have the title company, so they can move those numbers around. Where a resale person is just their home, and you bring the lender, they're not able to do those things.
If you're a seller and you don't have to sell your home right now, don't sit on it for a little bit longer. See what happens. See how it plays. If you have to move, that's completely different.
But you could also rent it out.
You could rent it out if you don't need that money to move into something else.
Exactly. Depending on when you bought and what your mortgage is, renting for a year is a great option.
Mm-hmm.
We have a property management division that, I'm pretty proud of. I did not want to be in the property management division, but I'm proud of it because we don't have a high turnover. We respect our tenants as much as they respect us. And I think it's a two-way. It's kind of how we deal with real estate as a whole. It's all about respect and communication. If you put it in our property management, now we're going to be able to say, okay, this is what the market's doing this month. As it comes closer to the tenants leaving, we can start, getting your house ready to go on the market.
Mm-hmm. And we had one of our investors, Mark, right? Like, I won't say his last name, but Mark, we listed all three of his homes and
for sale. Yep.
One of them sold, and now we're
renting the others.
We're going to rent them out because he's just going to wait, and because he can. So if you're a seller and you don't have to sell, not a requirement, you're not relocating anywhere, and you can wait it. You can sit there for another year. Sit there. Like you don't add more to the equation unless you have the desire to downsize or whatever. Something in your life has changed.
You know what is interesting? Let's talk about quote unquote season.
Season is January to January.
There is no season any longer in our real estate market.
No.
There's season for people to come and visit. The roads get busier, restaurants are busier. But in the real estate market, our season has changed drastically. Mm-hmm. Last year, our season was extremely slow for season. And our summer was almost like a summer up north.
Right.
It was nonstop busy. And even fall has been quite busy. We call it fall. It's when the palm fronds turn a little brown and they fall off.
It's in the 60s today, so it's fall for us.
60s, no.
In the morning. It was in the 60s.
Yes, in the morning.
It's fantastic. That's why we moved to Florida. But you're right, we don't have a true season. The summertime sales are actually higher than what January and February are.
Yeah.
Right? But January and February in season. Now, granted, January is coming off of December, which is 30 days behind. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. The summertime, you see more activity of sales happening than you do in the early part of season. But this isn't a seasonal thing anymore.
No. And we used to be able to set our watches by Easter. Like when Easter happened, the buyers dried up and off they went, and you had summers to do whatever you wanted. And you come back, you maybe get a couple more sales towards the end of the year. And then you start really fresh January 1 and you just run wild from January till April.
I've already started seeing car haulers coming down starting in September.
They don't want to deal with the north at all. You don't know, is it going to be a whole rainy fall or is it going to be a nice like Indian summer, they call it up there, where it's still warm in September. And they're like, we're not dealing with it. We're just coming down. And that happened after COVID. COVID was a big push for that.
And now we're essentially at the back end of hurricane season.
Can you believe we're 5 years post-COVID?
No.
It's weird, right?
Cece says all the time I want
to go back to COVID.
She wants those days. She doesn't want
No, not the COVID.
The pandemic. She doesn't want that.
I want to go back to sitting in my pool and having deliveries brought to me all the time. Yes, that was wonderful.
She likes to say gallon-sized margaritas that you can just pick up at the restaurant.
Going shopping, honey. I cooked dinner. I brought home margaritas for dinner.
Right.
That's the extent of my cooking.
But yeah, 5 years. Holy cow, that's a lot. I mean, we're 3 years past our hurricane. The big hurricane. Yeah,
the big hurricane. I think and a lot of realtors will never tell their sellers, don't sell if you don't have to. If your plan is to move somewhere and you can hold off a year or two, then go ahead and hold off, because what we've talked about and what we've seen, I think Cape Coral is probably going to come down slightly more in 2026. And I think Fort Myers is going to be, that's their bottom. Maybe they're going to plateau. Maybe they're going to go up 1 or 2%.
Sure.
But that's where we're going to hang, is right there in Fort Myers. And then we're going to start going up in 2027. I think that's it. So if you can hold off a year or two, then do it. If you have to leave, then you have to leave.
In the real estate cycle. So I asked you, and this just triggered it for me. What would you tell new agents? I would tell a new agent, go research real estate cycles and see what those numbers and the averages, and like you and I, we've gone back the last 30 years here locally to determine and find cycles and compare this current market to how we were before. And I think we got it pretty dialed in of when we know the next cycle is going to begin and when it's probably going to end. Maybe we'll put that out there.
Imagine if they had no doc loans in 2020 and 2022. It would be like 2007 and 8 all over again.
It would be.
And then the crash in the bottom in 2011. But we will not have a crash. I'm saying that. Like, we're not going to have a crash in our market.
No. But you listen to other people and like...
there's other realtors that I talk to. They're like, credit card debt is at all-time high. You know, you're here in our local market. You're doing real estate, right? You're selling stuff. You're this, that. And he's like, yeah, it's going to crash. And I was like, okay.
Here's the beauty, actually. If you think about this, right? We have so much of attractions here, like the reasons why people relocate here.
The reason why we moved
Rental prices are actually down as well. So if more people are relocating here...
I don't think Airbnb prices are down.
No,
those
Airbnb
are still up.
prices are not. But annual rental market, it's down considerably. If you take those people that are renting, and rental does the same thing. It's cyclical. It's going to go back up at some point in time here, and I have a pretty good idea when. But if you take those numbers and you look at them, and now you got all of these tenants that are renting annually, the moment it becomes more profitable to own versus rent, those people are going to get off the fence of renting, and then they're going to go buy something. And for renting right now, like, you can find some really good homes for relatively cheap money. And it's affordable, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
rather than paying a mortgage that's $1,000 or $1,500 more, you can rent at this point in time and wait for those prices to come down. Are you going to throw away $20,000 in rent? Sure, but maybe you don't know where you want to be, or whatever it may be. But it's a good time to be renting and exploring the area. Because we have so many different pockets in Lee County. Yeah. Lee County should be its own state.
Feels like it is.
It should be divided up into other counties because it's so vastly different. You have, Lehigh Acres that's so far away from the water and so different than, Elva that's rural that, then you go over to like Fort Myers Beach, which is completely different than Pine Island, which is still the same body of water.
Right.
But Pine Island and Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel are three vastly different islands.
Yeah, 3 different communities.
Yep.
And you get a whole different lifestyle.
3 different price ranges.
Yes.
On all of them, too. All the same body of water.
Yeah. If you want more information or you have some questions and you're just not really sure, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to give you our opinion and get you the answers that you need. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.